calling the meeting to order. Tom, can we do a roll call, please?
Peter Resnick.
Here.
Greg Schroeder. Vahagan Chiflikan.
Here.
Shalini Smith.
Here.
Ann Panthen.
Here. Thank you. I presume everyone's been able to look over the agenda, and I'm wondering if we have any additions from the commissioners. No? Okay. Approval of minutes of the May 21st, 2024 HRC meeting.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Public input? None. Unfinished business? None. New business? We have receipt of automatic EEO certifications. So we are to vote on receiving them, or we're just?
We would normally ask you to vote, but since there were none this time, we just note that there were none that were under
Oh, that's right.
less than 15.
That's right. There are none. We just mentioned that. So we're moving on to consideration of EEO workforce statistics. We have 7, I think. And I think, is one of them PJ Hare?
That's correct.
Is that like an updated thing?
There was another one that is actually called Hare without the PJ. They may be related, but they are not in the same community. They're nearby each other.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion if you want.
Yes, please.
And I'll vary just a bit from the staff recommendations, but pretty much stick to. I will move that we approve JP Morgan Chase Bank for 2 years, Schaefer Plastics North America for 2 years, Locality Media Inc. for 2 years, Commerce Bank for 2 years, ABC Sanitary Hauling and Recycling for doing business as ABC Sanitary for 2 years, PJ Hare Inc. for 1 year, and Broeren Russo Builders for 1 year.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So what is our discussion? Pete, you had some.
So my only 2 reasons for varying and going for the 1 year for PJ Hare and Broeren Russo was because they are union shops. We've all kind of taken, the assumption that the problem they're having is with getting union employees who are diverse, not any particular hiring practices themselves. On the other hand, I know Carla and I are meeting later this week to start to discuss how to approach unions and hopefully bring a proposal to the commission. And I would hate for us to come up with a proposal and have these folks certified for 2 years. We give them the 1 year if we want to put in the letter. We understand we're working on it, and then, we can come up with a proposal for dealing with the union labor force at a later date, but hopefully soon. So that was my reasoning. Everybody else looked like either very small or they're doing great as far as diversity goes.
So there could be a difference between the staff members of these companies that would be working with the city. They may not be union members themselves. It could be a management person or a professional like an engineer that would not necessarily be in a union, although the company has union staff members. Kind of like, the city of Urbana. There are unions, not everyone's in it. So when we say this is the colorful chart that you give us. I didn't.
Yes, and Pete is correct. That was not noted on some of those pages, I realized. It was on their forms, though. They are both
Yeah.
labor union shops.
Okay,
And my understanding from their numbers is most of the numbers of their workers do represent their union employees. I assume they have management, and I don't, but small numbers compared to the rest of their workforce.
And I believe that they do provide us with who's assigned to Urbana, and I believe they're broken down by category. So that could give us an idea of, is this union, is it not union?
yeah,
But we can't really know unless they tell us.
right. And I'm not sure that's even a consideration if we're looking at the whole organization. You know, does it matter who is working with the city of Urbana specifically? Or does it matter that it's a union shop generally, you know, they have laborers and those kind of,
Well, I don't think it matters per se who's working for us, but we're trying to ensure that the folks that want to do contract work with the city, that they are being cognizant of a diverse workforce.
Right.
Mr. Resnick and I, we're going to meet and strategize on how to partner, or how can we work with them or provide ideas on how to diversify the pool of workers that many of the companies that we are working with draw from.
okay, yeah.
Just, and I'll keep it very brief, but the history here, when we started this process of looking at contractors, the ordinance also specifies we're to look at contractors with the city and unions who work with the city or through contractors work with the city.
Yep.
And we're to review both of their workforce statistics. When we came up with the procedure, we came up with the procedure for the contractors, but we never quite figured out what to do about how to review unions. And so, you know, these particular two companies, they have pretty lousy looking numbers, but it tends to be because the unions have underrepresented populations. So when we finally are able to say, hey, we're working with unions, even if they are underrepresented, they're doing good faith efforts, that will be a good reason to say, okay, we'll give them 2 years because we can see that they're working towards something. Right now, we're sort of flying in the dark. So, yeah.
That's where I take that stance when I give my recommendations, is when I look at their application in its entirety, when they're required to provide us a good faith effort, they give us everything that they're doing to increase their diversity within their workforce. And so that's why my recommendations are what they are, is because I see that they are making strong efforts. It's just that those efforts are slow in results.
Right, okay. Yeah, I saw one, I don't remember which one it was, it may have been Brewer Russo, even sent us like the receipt of their newspaper thing, you know. So, I know that they're trying, it's, you know, it is slow, things are slow. Okay. Shalini, did you have a question?
Actually, yes, I did. In theory, when companies are submitting these applications, the data for their workforce, I would assume it should be on the more recent side, right? Specifically, I'm asking about this because Commerce Bank's numbers are from December of 2022.
Unless it's a typo. It's at the bottom of their,
I would assume, it's safe to assume it's not a typo, that what they're probably doing, since it's such a large organization, is they're calling in reports from each of their branches, and the best information they can provide us would be at the end of 2022, because they gathered it throughout 2023 and put an annual report together by the end of their fiscal year or their calendar year, not sure which. But that's very likely that they're because it's such a large organization, they're giving us accurate information up until that point, and they're calculating the 2023 information during this early part of the year, or first half of the year.
Thank you.
But we don't know that for sure.
All theory, true.
Yeah, okay. We'll just kind of watch that. I had not even, usually they sign it, and I assume the date they sign it is around the date that they collected the information, but you're right, it could be 18 months old. It's not really, it may not be quite accurate, though, if it is that old.
And whenever we hear something like this, a good question like this, it gives us one more thing to think about as we update our application forms. What we might be asking for in the future would be, we say, please give us something recent, and if it's not as recent as such and such, then please fill in a reason why it might be
Yeah.
looking differently than
Yeah,
we
I
would
think
hope.
that's a good idea. Because if it is 18 months old, it would, be hard. I mean, you might have looked at this same application, a year ago. And so I think it would be a good idea to sort of, when we do update things, to make sure that we're getting a nice recent count. And I think it is hard for those large companies to have that. But, yes,
Just one question. Are these applications the final versions, final forms? Because while reviewing the Equal Employment Opportunity Workforce Statistics, I noticed that the company submitted, I noticed that there are some questions that are unanswered.
okay.
So I'm just wondering, does this pose an issue for moving forward with these companies? And
Are you talking about on their application itself?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, and there are 4 companies that didn't give complete answers.
Oh,
For example, the
For which-
ABC Sanitary, Section 2, Provision 12, Section 5, Provision number 4.
let me get there. Let me get there and take a look.
ABC Sanitary, Section 2, Policies and Practices.
I think that one is because number 11, they said no. So number 12 is not applicable.
Yeah, but they didn't answer non-applicable or something.
I see. I believe.
Because there is 2 questions, yes or non-applicable.
Right. They probably should have checked non-applicable. In this case, because does the company have active bargaining agreements with labor organizations? They say not applicable. So the next question, have the labor organizations been notified? They should have said not applicable. And I think
But
they just
I-
thought,
But number
Actually-
11 does say skip to 13.
oh, and skip to question 13.
If
on number
the answer
11.
is no, skip to 13.
All right, thank you.
Which was the other?
The other was Section 5, verification, question number 4.
Are we still in the ABC?
Yes. And, yeah,
We need
ABC
we need
is
to
a
check and
renewal,
see if
isn't
they
it?
were given a provisional at their last certification, because if they were given a provisional at their last certification, then they would.
Should have. Yes.
Should have, but if,
And I should have caught that myself. They were not a provisional. They were a 2-year one. And they should have said, they could have said not applicable. They were in good standing 2 years ago for a 2-year certificate, is what I'm saying.
I know, it's handy. You have others? Yep.
all right, so the next one is Locality Media, Inc., Section 2, Policies and Practices, again, question number 12. Schaffer Plastics North America LLC, Section 2, Policies and Practices, question number 7.
So what had happened with Schaefer Plastics, they were a larger company and split into two. So they had been certified as a bigger company 2 years ago, for 2 years. And so what they should have simply said on number 7 is it's really not applicable because we're looking at this as if it was a new company because they have all new numbers.
The same Schaffer Plastics number 9, 12.
And their numbers are.
Is it a union? Oh, okay.
Had the contractor notified all of this?
Can we reach out to them?
We can. It's a company that is not so large that they could conceivably not have subcontractors for what they're doing,
Yeah,
but they really would have helped us if they'd answered that question. You are correct.
yeah. And if they don't, they don't, but
I guess one question, are you comfortable going ahead with the approval even though that one's not answered? I think it's okay. If, assuming it's not applicable, they would just say not applicable. If they have subcontractors, I think it would not be terrible for us to approve them and say, by the way, if you've got subcontractors, you better send the notification.
If the question if not answering the question does not pose any issues, so I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And we can approve that.
okay.
And yeah, the final one is PG Hair, Inc., yeah. Section 2, Policies and Practices, provision number 7 and 10. Number 10 is the company a state-certified minority women-owned business? If yes, please attach a copy of state certification. So we don't know if it's yes or not applicable.
On number 7, about the provisional certificate,
Oh, yeah, numbers.
they had a provisional certificate and they submitted a good faith efforts update. They just didn't answer the question. They could have answered that they have attached that information to their project. In fact, I think they sent the good faith effort update before they sent their application and had somebody else doing left and right on that. So
And the number 10, it was 7, right?
Yeah, that was 7.
Yeah, and number 10.
So they should have, I don't think it's a woman-owned or minority-owned business, so,
Wait, do you by any chance have that information from last certification?
I believe Ann is correct that that is not a minority-owned or woman-owned business.
I mean,
Did it answer your question, Pete, or is it?
yeah, I'm comfortable still with approving them, assuming they're not. So, you know, presumably, if they answered yes, that would just be a bonus, not,
Exactly, exactly.
wouldn't subtract.
yeah.
If they have not been answering the question or that particular question or not adding their certificate, if we don't reach out to them to say, shouldn't you have given us that, then we know that they didn't apply for that bonus.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, no kidding. Swear I read them. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've had the discussion we're going to have, so we can vote on that. All in favor of approving J.P. Morgan Chase for 2 years, Schaefer Plastics for 2 years, Locality Media, 2 years, Commerce Bank, 2 years, ABC Sanitary, 2 years, PJ Hair, 1, and Brorin Russo Builders, 1. With reaching out and making sure that they are doing the union notification piece. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Officers report.
For formal complaints, there's still the one active complaint. We're still in the back and forth with receiving information, asking more questions, and asking for more information. In contacts and informal complaints, one person seeking to help with moving back to Urbana. This person lives in the Chicago area, so I provided her the phone number of the apartment complex that she was interested in, because I don't have jurisdiction over anything else. And one was concerning late rent issues, eviction, and I referred the person to the tenants union. Received an email asking for help with rental unit issues. The person lives in Belleville, Illinois. I advised that this person seek out Belleville city government offices because I don't have jurisdiction over Belleville. Person wanted to apply the tenant-landlord relationship ordinance to a storage unit. Spoke with legal to confirm the purpose of the ordinance is housing of people. The person told me that the storage unit was considered a part of their home because, for insurance purposes, so they have a home and they are storing things in the storage unit. And the storage unit, my understanding is, overturned new management, and new management is applying late fees, and this person wanted to apply the late fee restrictions of the landlord-tenant ordinance to that.
That is an interesting approach, though.
It was, because when I read through it, I was like, and he said, because of the commas and where, and the breaks and I'm like, well, yeah, but
Yeah.
here it clearly states occupancy, it states here, so, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
But I did check with legal just to make sure, and legal said that I was interpreting the law correctly. And then we did have and then for office activity, we had the recruitment opportunity on May 30. Thank you, Ann, for participating in that. It went very well. We were with the Southeast Urbana Neighborhood Association, and the office received one application with interest to join the HRC. I received that, the mayor's office has received that, and so we're just getting it through the process so that we can hopefully get them appointed. And I believe, Mr. Resnick, you were appointed last night.
I saw it on the agenda,
We're on the agenda, so I
You were
believe
on
you
the
got
agenda.
appointed last night.
so congratulations.
I think the term is congratulations, but that's okay. But thank you. I appreciate it, and I'm glad to serve another term.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you for that, though.
Yes.
And then as a reminder, the City of Urbana has the Juneteenth events this Friday, Reflections in Reverence, including the raising of the Juneteenth flag. The program would start at 11:30. However, the doors will open at 11 a.m. so visitors can visit the organization booths. We're going to have, I believe, 4 organizations that will be tabling with information about their organization. And so we're hoping that people will come speak with them, visit with them, and then the program come into the council chamber, and the program will start at 11:30.
11:30.
And we're encouraging everyone to please attend that if you can. And then on the 18th, family employees, families, and guests are invited to a soul food luncheon in the back quad of City Hall at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're trying to offer a traditional soul food luncheon, and we're hoping that people will come, try some food. You may already have tried it, but if you haven't, come and try it. And if you're available, please attend. And that is the end of my report.
Okay. Any questions for the officer? Let me make these announcements, although they do overlap a little, but a public event. Something's going on here. A public event, Juneteenth, Reflections and Reverence, as Carla just said, Friday, June 14th, 11 for the tabling and 11:30 for the ceremony. And then is that the day of the flag?
Yes.
Yes.
And what do you know what time that happens?
The program will start at 11:30 here, and that'll be the last thing of the program. It'll probably all take an hour altogether.
So we'll all go outside?
out, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. So hopefully some of the commissioners, or all of us, can attend that. Also, a public event, Juneteenth celebration in Urbana, Sunday, June 16th, from 1 to 3 p.m., Crystal Lake Park, the Urbana Park District, the Urbana Free Library. Is the city of Urbana, I presume, is there? Although it doesn't say that, but,
Yes, we will have a table there.
okay. So there'll be music, food, and a variety of recreational activities. Hopefully it'll be just as hot as it was last year, which is like 120. So maybe we can get under a tree.
Jump in the lake.
We could, I don't know. I've never felt like that was a good idea. Okay, although they did drag it recently, so maybe it'd be all right. For the commissioners, the Juneteenth celebration lunch will be going on the June 18th, 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. That will be here. The 26th annual Martin Luther King Jetty Roads Day, Saturday, June 22nd, from noon to 4 at Urbana King Park. It is a great time and a lot of people. So I'm glad we're going to be there, and I encourage us to attend. This commission has openings. We're not saying how many. It's shrinking. The next scheduled meeting, Tuesday, July 16th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. I believe that Greg will be back, and we may have, who knows, a new commissioner. It'd be great. Okay. Anything else from the commissioners? No? Carla, Tom, anything? All right. This meeting is adjourned.